So in this video, we'll be looking at how we can use Tailwind CSS, the installation, and the basics of how Tailwind CSS helps us style our components in a very user-friendly and easy way. So we'll be following this post CSS installation, and we'll be using, you can use any framework of choice, but in this video, we'll be using Create React App, and I've already set up my Create React App. And here what you have to do is npm install Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and auto prefixer. Post that, you have to create a file postcss.config.js and paste these. This is all given in the documentation. Next, create a file called tailwind.config.js, and here you have to paste some standard boilerplate. We'll get back to this file in a later part of this video. And then in the index.css, paste these commands, not commands, paste this snippet of code. Okay, so for app.js, let's just test what we get, right? So here, if you give like top-0 and go back to our app, you can see that top-0 actually gives us the Tailwind implementation of top 0 pixels. So this is the first and most basic way to use Tailwind CSS, right? Because you have all these shorthand class definitions which is already predefined, and here you can specify the amount of pixels. So if you hover over that, you can see that, hey, in the browser, top-25 pixels gives top 25 pixels. We'll be making a sidebar with this, and let's go ahead and create a file called sidebar.js. And inside sidebar.js, let's give it a class name of flex and give it top-0, right? And let's give it a class name of left-0, which will give us left 0 pixels, and h-screen, and let's give it something like w-16. So when you hover over it, you can see h-screen is height 100 bh, w16 is for rem, m-0 for margin 0, flex-call for flex direction column, and bg gray. You can see that there are all these colors are actually the Tailwind IntelliSense is giving us all these auto suggestions, which makes us writing the Tailwind classes very easy. So shadow-lg is something for shadows, right, which is very easy to understand if you have some basic knowledge of CSS or if you have been doing CSS for a while. So as you can see, we have created a basic sidebar with some icons, right? And I'll be using React-icons. I'll be leaving the link to that in the description. So you can just go ahead and install npm install React icons, and you can use some really good icons, right? And before that, in the Tailwind config.js, let's extend our Tailwind styles, right? So let me define primary with some hex color value and secondary with some hex color value like this. So if I go back to sidebar, I can actually replace the color to bg-primary, which will make the background the primary color what I've defined in the Tailwind config.js. So this is a very useful way, and I have to give it inside colors. So inside of the colors object, we have defined, and you can see that the primary and secondary colors are now showing up in inside of our local host. So yeah. And let me go ahead and create a sidebar icon, right? And this sidebar icon component, this will return an icon, right? So I can just use sidebar icon inside of this by using React icons, and you can see that the icon is rendered on the sidebar just like this. So if I go back to index.css and use the @layer directive, I can define sidebar-icon class styles just like this. I can use the @apply directive, and I can define sidebar icon to be relative, flex, item center, justify center, and let's give it a h-12, w-12, mt-2, and mb-2, and let us give mx auto as well. So if you're familiar with CSS, you will know. I mean, you can just play around with this and see what our classes Tailwind has to offer us. So text-green -500 or 400. So here you can see that the sidebar icon, let's just copy paste some of these, And from React icons, let me fetch some other icons. Let me see what else is there. FA plus, and let's see what else is there. FA Alipay and FA dollar sign, something like that, just to differentiate between the icons. So yeah, it's okay if it repeats. This is just for demo purposes, right? So if we go back, we can see that these beautiful icons are rendered just like this. So very beautiful to see and very easy to set up, right? It's very easy to set up. And let's see how we can animate icons in Tailwind. So go back to index.css and extend that sidebar icons class. Let us give a rounded dash XL. Actually, let me make that 3XL. And on hover, I can write the hover style inside the same line, right? So on hover, I can write a rounded dash XL. So I don't have to write a separate class for the hover property. And let me also change the color on hover. Let me say on hover, I want BG dash green dash 500. And let me see, I want to change the text color as well. So again, hover colon text dash white. So ideally this should change the button style and colors on hover. And let's give it a transition all, and we can specify a duration for the transition as well. So with just one line of CSS, you can achieve all this. And as you can see, the icons are animating really well. This looks very easy, and we just took only about 5 minutes to set up the whole sidebar along with icons and animation. So yep, that's it for this tutorial, and let me know if you want another Tailwind CSS tutorial, and please subscribe if you haven't. Peace.